Hello, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vijayka, and today we will be continuing with our next chapter, which is about Thomas Norton and Thomas Sackville. This is like the world literature series that we are doing for UGC NET aspirants. So, now let us begin. So, Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton, these two people, they were the ones who wrote the first tragedy in English literature, Gorboduc, which is also titled Ferrex and Porrex in 1561. Very important question. It was performed at the Christmas celebration given by the Inner Temple in 1561 and performed before Queen Elizabeth I on 18 January 1562. It is written in 5 acts, out of which the first 3 acts are written by Thomas Norton and the last 2 acts by Thomas Sackville. It is the first verse drama in English to employ blank verse. The characters in the tragedy are Gorboduc, which is the king of Great Britain, Videnna, queen and wife of Gorboduc, Ferrex, elder son of Gorboduc, Porrex, younger son, Dordon, a counselor assigned by the king to his son Ferrex, Philander, a counselor assigned by the king to his son Porrex. You can remember this, Philander and Porrex, PP both, so that would be easier. Now we come to chapter 19, which is Roger Ascham, and that was all because the thing is that was the main points that you need to remember for UGC NET. If you wish to learn more about these authors, you can just do your research and study more. And so let us come to Roger Ascham. His timeline was from 1515 to 1568. He was an English scholar, didactic writer, and was famous for his prose style. He acted as Princess Elizabeth's tutor in Greek and Latin between 1548 to 1550, 2 years. He was the son of John Ascham, who was steward to the Baron Scrope of Bolton. In 1530, Ascham had an unspecified quarrel with the court, which he ambiguously described as a storm of recent violence and injury. In the same year, he was appointed as secretary to Richard Morrison. Important works: Toxophilus. This is the first published work of Ascham, that means lover of the bow or bow, in 1545, and it was dedicated to Henry VIII. It was the first book on archery in English. The work is a platonic dialogue between Toxophilus and Philologus. The Schoolmaster, the next work. In 1563, Ascham began the work The Schoolmaster, which was published posthumously, that is, after his death in 1570. The book concentrates on the teaching of Latin, and it was not intended for schools basically. It was specially intended for private young gentlemen and noblemen houses, for homeschooled gentlemen and nobility basically. The larger concern of the book is the psychology of learning. Quite advanced if you think about it. The education of the whole person and the ideal moral and intellectual personality in that education. That kind of, the book wanted to offer a complete overview, and it wanted to go beyond just education and rote learning. So it was quite phenomenal if you think about it. Now we come to Beaumont and Fletcher. Chapter 20. Francis Beaumont and John Fletcher are usually thought of together because of their long collaboration. Beaumont was born in 1584, while Fletcher in 1579. Both the writers collaborated with Shakespeare in King Henry VIII and the Two Noble Kinsmen. Shakespeare also collaborated with Fletcher in writing Cardenio. Cardenio is regarded as Shakespeare's work as well. A lot of people don't know that, but that's true. W.J. Long points that Beaumont supplied the judgment and the solid work of the play, while Fletcher furnished the high color, sentiment, and the lyric poetry. So both of them complemented each other. Their masterpiece works are Faithful Shepherdess, a pastoral play full of charming passages and showing the lyrical talents of the poet, The Scornful Lady, an excellent domestic comedy, The Knight of the Burning Pestle, one of the most amusing and nimble parodies of the chivalrous romance of knight errantly, the craze for which was widespread in the London middle class at the time. I think there is some typo here, but I feel that the Knight of the Burning Pestle is just about a knight and his romance. So that's that. There is something with the word errantly. I will check it. The Maid's Tragedy. That's the next work. A King and No King. That's another work, and it's about King Charles I. It is a tragic comedy. The scene is led in a far off country. The play represents incestuous love and hovers on the brink of tragedy. However, the end is happy for the lovers, who are discovered to be no brother and sister and are happily married at the end. So, yeah, quite a bold way to think about it. Now we come to Ben Jonson. His timeline was from 1572 to 1637. Benjamin Jonson was an English playwright and poet whose artistry exerted a lasting impact upon English poetry and stage comedy. He worked as a bricklayer like his stepfather. In 1616, Jonson received a yearly pension of 100 marks, about £60, leading some to identify him as England's first poet laureate. He served as a soldier in Flanders Low Countries, became an actor and playwright with Low Countries in 1597. As an actor, Jonson was the protagonist of Hieronymo. As the protagonist Hieronymo, he played the main role, or Geronimo, in the play The Spanish Tragedy, which was written by Thomas Kidd, the first revenge tragedy in English literature. Yeah, note that down. He was imprisoned for writing the satirical play The Isle of Dogs, 1597. He killed a fellow actor, Gabriel Spencer, in duel, escaped the execution with his wit in 1602. Yeah, he was a haughty, he was a hot-blooded man. In 1605, he was imprisoned the third time for his work with John Marston and George Chapman on Eastward Ho. He wrote masques for private performances in King James Court. Epigram and The Forest are poetic collections by Ben. He quarrelled bitterly with Inigo Jones, his stage designer, another very important name, and also quarrelled with Marston and Dekker in the War of the Theatres. Every man in his humour made him a celebrity. Very important. He was a literary dictator at the Mermaid Tavern. He was buried in Westminster Abbey with epitaph, O rare Ben Jonson. The works of Jonson appeared in a folio format in 1616. Arnold wrote a poem on Jonson entitled An Ode to Ben Jonson. It starts with, Ah Ben, say how or when shall we, thy guests meet at those lyric feasts made at the Sun, the Dog, the Triple Tun. Arnold also wrote a book, The English Poets, Ben Jonson to Dryden. Alexander Pope said, Jonson brought critical learning into vogue. By 1597, he was writing for Philip Henslow's theatrical company. In the same year, Henslow asked Ben to finish Thomas Nash's The Isle of Dogs, which is now lost, unfortunately, and Jonson was jailed for it. Dryden said about Jonson, if I would compare him with Shakespeare, I must acknowledge him the most correct poet. But Shakespeare the greater wit. Shakespeare was the Homer, or father of our dramatic poets. Jonson was the Virgin, the pattern of elaborate writing. I admire him, but I love Shakespeare. It's taken from an essay of dramatic poesy. Yeah, so Dryden had a lot of thoughts about him. T.S. Eliot on Ben Jonson. The reputation of Jonson has been of the most deadly kind that can be compelled upon the memory of a great poet. Jonson failed as a tragic dramatist. Jonson is the legitimate heir of Marlowe. Johnson's work is of the surface, carefully avoiding the word superficial. Johnson behaved as the great creative mind that he was. He created his own world, a world from which his followers, as well as the dramatists who were trying to do something wholly different, are excluded. So these were T.S. Eliot's thoughts. Some of them were highly praiseworthy, some of them were critical, but not unrightfully so, in my opinion. Comedy of humors. It is a technique of characterization used by Ben Jonson. In this technique, an individual is marked by one characteristic, distortions or eccentricity based on one of the four humors: blood or sanguine, sociable and pleasure seeking. The people who have this humor more are like very sociable, very excited, extroverted kind of people. Phlegm. They are more relaxed and quiet. Choler or yellow bile, ambitious and leader-like. Melancholy or black bile, not black bite, it's black bile. Introverted and thoughtful. Important works of Ben Jonson. These are some of the works that you should remember. Even the chronology, I would suggest to remember the chronology as well, because it might be very helpful and it might come in the exam. So Every Man in His Humour, 1598. Every Man Out of His Humour, 1599. Cynthia's Revels, 1600. The Poetista, 1601. A Full of Vivacity, a play full of vivacity and fun. That is Poetista. I think I marked it down, but it's not the play, but the work and how it is being described here. Walpole, The Fox, 1605. Epicene or the Silent Woman, 1609. The Alchemist, 1610. Bartholomew Fair, less powerful. The Devil is an Ass, The Staple of News, The Tale of a Tub. Catiline, His Conspiracy, which is a tragedy. Sejanus, His Fall, again a tragedy. Eastward-Ho, along with Marston and Chapman, The Poetista. Song to Celia, The Magnetic Lad. So yeah, I am not quite sure about this one, a Full of Vivacity and Fun. I will check it and let you know if it is a play or if it is a typo. Let me see. Full of Vivacity and Fun. I think, yeah, it is a work by Jonson. Ben Jonson. Let me check it right here. I think it is a typo. If it is not, you can tell me in the comment section. Thank you so much for people who watched this video, and let me know if you have any suggestions. And the comment box is open for you. If you like the video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and I will meet you all in the next video. Thank you.